I have to ask, this film, Blackbird, it's not an easy film to swallow. I was reading from the press notes that, I mean, several people were seeking to play your role, including you. But what was it about the role that made you want to be a part of it? Because like I said, it's not a film to easily swallow. So why?
I love dark stories. I love dark stories with a twist of hope and light and heart. And I feel like this one has that. Also, it's not often I get to play like the outsider character who's not brooding and moody and dangerous, but instead the outsider who's charming and open and level-headed, down to earth. So of course I wanted to jump on that. Excellent. Yes, please. Let me be wholesome. But again, I love dark stories. I really, really do. I have a friend whose dad passed from ALS. And actually at the time we were shooting, my sister was working in an ALS lab, a research lab in her college. So it just sort of all kept piling up, being like, no, I need to do this, you know? And I am firmly on the side of my body, my choice. And that pertains to everything. Some people's greatest fear is being trapped in their body with no mind. And some people's biggest fear is being trapped in their mind with no body. And that the latter is what I feel Susan's character is in this film. And that's valid. It's a scary thing to be going through. And I firmly believe that it's her body, it's her choice, how she takes herself out, how she leaves. Especially given that she's trying to work it through with the family and really trying to say goodbye. It's not just taking herself out without conversations, without having her family be privy. Mm-hmm. I think it's really an important story to tell because it's honest. It's something that not everybody deals with, but some families have to deal with. And some people have to deal with. And it's scarring and it's terrifying and it's important. And no matter how dark a story is, darkness can be really, really important in order for there to be substantial light. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of how I feel about this story is I mean, assisted suicide is a really hard concept. And it's a really, really hard thing to turn into a movie. Mm-hmm. And I think, maybe I'm biased, but I think we did it really well.
It was very well written, the story. And it kind of takes you the perspective of how brave it is to coordinate and plan something like this. Because you could easily be selfish and just do it on your own. But yet wanted to...
Imagine who you're leaving behind.
That's right. That's right. So having to cover this issue and like you said, the same stuff kind of colliding in your life with other people, did you come to think of like, what would you do in the same situation? Because it made me think.
Yeah, we during the rehearsal process, we actually had a nurse come in who works specifically with ALS patients in their final months and in their last sections of life, I guess. Mm-hmm. And it was really pivotal, I feel like, for all of us to have that and to be able to ask those conversations of how many people choose this path. And from your experience as the nurse, the caretaker, mm-hmm. What do you see? What do you feel when you have this script? I think it's, I think we all are intimately aware of how difficult a topic this is, you know? And I think it's hard to think about what you would do in this situation, especially if you don't know the intricacies of what is involved in keeping yourself alive once it starts. Like we got to the machine that Susan wears in the film, the breathing machine. We actually got to see that and utilize that and use it in person, and we got to hear about what it means to have to put in that feeding tube, and we really got the inside scoop of also, I wasn't part of this, but I do believe that Susan, Kate, and Mia got to actually go and meet with an ALS patient herself, and really speak and have those conversations about her choices and what she was doing, what her path was and what she was choosing, and how she felt. We didn't want, none of us, especially not Roger or Susan, none of us wanted to just fly by the seat of our pants on this. We wanted to do this justice and do this right, and tell people's stories, and not just be like, oh, I wonder what this would feel like, but be like, what does this feel like? You know? And that's what I think makes this film so special, is it's not, there's none of this is half-assed. All of this is well thought out, well planned, and intense. Because as much as the movie is about Susan's character's choice, I think it's more about the family. And the family interacting with this choice, you know, which is more important, because at the end of the day, our bodies are ours to do with what we need to. Our bodies are our choices, are our ourselves, our lives. No one else can really make those final calls for us. And I think this movie really kind of drives that home.
It reminds us, right? So this film had a good combination. Yes, there was that sad story, you know, but it also touched other, you know, kind of strong topics. I mean, you're talking about even mental illness. You're talking about marriage, same-sex relationships, you know. It covers a lot, but at the same time, it has a little bit of comedy, like it's a little witty. And I was watching the screener. My boyfriend was in the background working, and he's just like, sees me crying suddenly and then sees me giggling something. And he was just kind of like, what are you doing? What's wrong?
Yeah.
So how was it to be able to combine everything that way?
Oh, I love it. I think that's the most important thing of media is taking you through all of the emotions if it can. That's kind of the goal, is to make you feel everything. I think Roger's goal in this film is to make the audience cry, and our goal as the performers is to make the audience feel. You know, and so combining those two makes for exactly what you said, this beautifully confusing just medley of emotions. Because that's what real life is. Even when you're dealing with the most devastating things, someone can come along and just make you smile through the tears.
The holiday dinner, how was the filming that? I mean, that was one of my favorite ones, and not to mention the Christmas gifts. I mean, wow, and the gifts.
Oh, just heart-wrenching. Oh, beautiful moments. filming that was amazing. I think we spent 2 nights on that. It was phenomenal. Also, none of us believe in fake eating. So every time we're eating and there were long, like 10-minute scenes or 10-minute takes. Like we would go all the way through the scene. There was no breaking. So when we're eating, we're eating. When we're like shoveling food, we're shoveling food. I ate so many eggs during those breakfast scenes. So many. Because all of us were like, we're going for it. We're a family, we're eating, we're gonna act like it, we're gonna eat like it. So I think as much emotion and amusement in those family dinners came from us as performers enjoying ourselves as there was the characters as a family enjoying each other, you know? So I think that those family bonding scenes, like with the charades and with the Christmas dinner especially, I think that the reason they show up so well is because we were genuinely outside of our characters having the best time.
Now, it opened a dynamic about how cool would it be, like even today for the holidays, because this year obviously has been very chaotic, all over the place. And how cool would it be to be able to have like holiday dinners with your family and being able to be so open and smoking weed? I mean, what a blast that would be, right?
Right? That'd be great.
I mean, usually they talk about holidays and bickering and arguments and stuff, but then I think that would bring so much peace.
I mean, I'm gonna show this movie to all my family members and be like, so instead of just, all the kids sneaking off to smoke, why don't we just bring it to the dinner table this time?
What better than for these like teenagers? I mean, I don't know. I don't have kids, but I can see it in the film, kind of like, why not? Why hide it from the parents? Why not be actually the parents witness what their kids are going to be like? Maybe just give them a little piece of advice, like, hey, well, maybe when you're doing this, maybe you shouldn't be doing that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
I mean,
I have a brother
I grew up
did with him.
I grew up with like, in terms of, it's a little different with my family. It was alcohol, because Atlanta, not legal, all that stuff. The marijuana, but alcohol was always something in our family that was like not hidden or like taboo or anything. It was like, hey, this is alcohol. It can be dangerous. We don't fuck with this overboard. Like we respect it. And like, I'm also Jewish, so we would have wine on Fridays and like in small amounts. Like talking about it openly removes the stigma and keeps people from abusing it because they don't understand it.
Right.
And I feel like that's something that rings true for the assisted suicide storyline and for the marijuana storyline. It's like the more open you are, the less conflict there will be.
Yeah, I agree. I think it definitely brings something. It brought it to my attention. I was like, you know what a difference that would really make in family dinners for the holidays. Like, you just respect it if you just don't care for it, but if you do, then why not? And you could continue on with the family gathering. So I hope that families look into that perspective.
I hope so too, especially in California.
Right. So to start to wrap it up, you're in on Netflix for Pumplin', is this correct?
Dumplin',
sorry.
Yeah, Dumplin', that was a fun one.
Okay, so we can get to see you on Netflix for that. And then anything else that you can share that you're working on or we'll be seeing you in?
If you've got Netflix, you can catch me in the movie Dumplin'. I also show up in 13 Reasons Why Season 3. You can kind of look back at a lot of my old body of work right now during quarantine while we're trying to find new jobs that can actually shoot.
I know. Well, fingers crossed very soon.
Fingers crossed. That's working on it.
Well, thank you so much for talking about this film. I know we started kind of on the sad note, but you know, we have to talk about this topic. Unfortunately, you know,
I love it. That's why I'm here. I love the dark storylines. I think they're just important as the bright ones, if not more so.
True, true. Well, thank you so much for being a part of this story, and then great role.
Thank you so much for talking with me.
Of course. Thank you. You take care.
You too. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.